Entertaining? When comedy was about being funny, movies were about telling great stories, and you didn't need a political lecture every time you hit play. Great entertainment still exists, it's just getting harder to find. Even the biggest streaming platforms leave audiences disappointed. That's why there's Studio TST, pure entertainment, real comedy, independent films, bold creators, movies, comedy, music, and more, and the home of fearless sketch comedy. That show tonight, entertainment the way you want it. Funny, creative, unapologetic, and agenda-free. Studio TST, the future of entertainment starts here. Join Studio TST today for just $5 a month.
Hello, friends. Do you have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name's Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRNradio. You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRNradio.
Hi, everyone. This is JJ, the co-founder of Good Pods. If you haven't heard of it yet, Good Pods is like Goodreads or Instagram, but for podcasts. It's new, it's social, it's different, and it's growing really fast. There are more than 2 million podcasts, and we know that it is impossible to figure out what to listen to. On Good Pods, you follow your friends and podcasters to see what they like. That is the #1 way to discover new shows and episodes. You can find Good Pods on the web or download the app. Happy listening.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The following program contains coarse language and adult themes. Listener discretion is advised.
And good Friday afternoon, everyone. Welcome into KLRN Radio and Digital Beacon U.S. News presentation of the Weekend News Roundup. I am one part of the crew. I'm Mr. Rick Robinson. I'm general manager, KLRNradio.com, Digital Beacon U.S. News.com. I am joined by none other than, in no particular order other than the ladies first rule, none other than Amy, who is to my right on the screen as far as I can tell. Possibly your left. I don't know, because things get flipped around. I don't know. But she's right here. How you doing, Miss Amy? How's things?
Going well. It's been a crazy week, but glad to be back. Glad it's Friday.
Yes. Glad it's Friday. And also right below me, who is no longer the floating head of doom, because we finally figured out why his camera wasn't working. None other than BZ himself, who's back with us this week after being off last week. So how you doing, sir? How's things?
Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. I'm great. How about you? You know why pirate jokes so bad?
Why pirate jokes go bad?
Are so bad.
Are so bad? I don't know. Why are pirate
because
jokes
they
bad?
are.
That's fantastic. And I totally did not mean to snort on that one. You actually got a giggle snort out of me. Good job.
Yay.
All right. So now that we've run off the few people that were listening with the terrible pirate joke, let's get started, shall we? So, yeah, it's not like, I don't know what we're going to talk about for the next hour, because there's been absolutely positively nothing going on. So
Right. Absolutely nothing. Not like there weren't big deaths this week or anything.
Yeah, you know, three. Well, actually, the thing about it is, it's always supposed to be this rule of three thing, but I think last I checked, we're up to like 5 so far, so we're still missing one somewhere.
Okay, Frank Beard.
Yep, that's one.
Dolly Parton.
That's 2.
Tim Curry.
That's
Okay, then who did I miss?
voice of Optimus Prime died right at the day after Tim Curry.
Yeah, that was Peter Cullen.
That's like my idol, Don LaFontaine, died in 2008 of cancer. Sad guy. Remember him from, and I can't even remotely begin to approximate, but his catchphrase, which I'm guessing is on his tombstone.
If not, it should be.
Yeah, in a world.
I miss that. I miss that voice. I really do.
Greatest voice on the planet. Mike Rowe is not bad. Not bad at all. But well, the guy, and I don't know his name, from Optimus Prime, was he augmented or was that his true voice? Because Don LaFontaine, that was his voice.
No, that was his voice.
That was
Okay.
Peter Cullen's voice. Yep, he was. That was all Peter Cullen. So
Yeah, I mean, the thing about him is he was Optimus Prime's voice through like multiple phases of the franchise until so he just kind of the voice of a generation basically.
yeah, he really, really was. I watched a YouTube video from Heel versus Babyface that he posted this morning in honor of Peter Cullen, and it actually made me cry a little bit. Az got a little emotional, and I have a soft spot for that, so it got to me. A lot of people are taking this week. This week has been really hard for those of us that love pop culture and movies and music. It's been a rough week.
If you guys haven't seen it, and not just you two, but anybody else, if you're talking about bass voices, there's a video, I think it's from the bass singers of TikTok, although you can find it on YouTube, which is okay, weird. But they sing the pirate song, Hoist the Colors. And my God, and not augmented at all, not AI, not deep fake. These dudes, white dudes, black dudes, sing Hoist the Colors. Holy crap. You had no idea the human voice could go that low. It's amazing. Go find it.
I will. I love that stuff. I love those sea
It's
shanties.
just incredible.
One of my favorites, I actually have it on my play. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I think we're about to talk
One of
about
my
the same thing.
I love the Wellerman sea shanty. I have it on my Apple playlist. One of my favorites, and I came across it on a YouTube short, and was like, it was so catchy and so addictive that I put it on.
Wellerman Sea.
You will know it the second you hear it. You will know it.
Wellerman Sea Shanty. YouTube. Oh, okay. I just heard it. Just a few seconds of it. Okay, I will play the rest of it. Thank you for the important safety tip.
There once was a ship that put to sea. The name of the ship was a Billy of Tea. The winds blew up her bow.
That one.
That one. Yep,
exactly.
That bass, that percussion line, bass line, whatever it is. Love that. Love that so much.
I'm part Scottish, but I love Irish music. Go figure.
Well, I mean, they're both Gaelic based, so
And German.
I
Half
mean,
Deutsch, half
Irish and Scottish they don't like to admit it to one another, but they're basically cousins. They both have the Gaelic background in their language, so
True that.
yeah, they may not like each other, but they're technically cousins. So I guess that would make them kind of the Hatfields and McCoys of the Isles. I don't know. Just saying.
Can we start out this way? Can you explain the Jasmine, whatever the hell, that wants to be senator? whose video was a rant. She wants to be Democrat senator, or Nikila Jasmine, blah blah, whatever the hell it is. And
Yeah,
then,
I have to admit, I never even knew anything about that till I did social media, and then I'm like, yeah, she doesn't stand a chance here, so it doesn't matter anyway.
yeah,
Is that the one with the one that starts off with the door? Because I saw
Yeah.
it, and everybody's like, she's crazy, and I went, yep, I'm gonna keep on scrolling because
yeah.
I got enough crazy in my life. I don't need more.
When you start off a video with a primal scream, number one, I'm not going to listen to it because that offends my ears. I can't take it.
Mm-hmm.
But just to confirm, she stands an insignificant molecule's chance of going anywhere.
Thank God. And I mean that in all sincerity, because we
Yeah.
do not need these people. I don't get what it is with these women and this I need to scream kind of like, I don't get it. What are you so angry about? You live in the best country in the world, the freest country for women. You have the world by the ass. And yet everybody's life has struggles. Everybody has, but I look at the rest of the world and go, I have a job. I can go to school. I can leave my house when I want to. I'm sitting here on camera with my hair uncovered. I can be seen in my windows. There are women in the world where you can't do that. Where in Afghanistan, you get seen from a window, you get heard talking, heaven forbid you laugh, you'll get stoned, you'll get beaten. You are treated as literal property. And women in America are the ones who are so angry.
It
Priorities,
makes no
people.
sense. Like the idiot, mostly, not all, but mostly it's insane, unbrained leftist white chicks.
Mhm.
And that part I don't get. It makes very little sense to me that
No.
you would go 210 over 190 in the, to all the people that don't like the country, go find another country. If you
Right.
think, if you think, for example, to all the Democrat socialists who are truly communists, that you don't care for this country, go find a commie country and live there.
Right? Why are you trying to screw up our country? Go screw up another one.
At least visit.
Well, see, but right, exactly. But the thing is, A, they know they've got it really good here, even though they don't admit it and they have to act like they hate it here. And B, the couple who have actually lived up to what they said and gone overseas realize things kind of suck over there. There was the one, I think it was a trans person who went somewhere in Europe and ended up putting her in a refugee camp with Muslims, and she kind of went, nope, coming back to the States because maybe Donald Trump isn't so bad after all. Yeah, like Donald.
Well, it's
Trump
like
is
even Rosie
temporary.
O'Donnell's coming back. I mean, what the hell?
Mhm.
Talk about
Mhm.
somebody
No,
I
you're
would have wished had stayed
Don't
gone.
Loved when I went to Greece. Loved it. Want to go to other parts of Europe. Will love them too, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, to quote the Wizard of Oz, there's no place like home. There really isn't. There really isn't. And we don't know how good we have it here, and we need to learn.
Very true. I had a chick, Lily Tang Williams, on my show 3 times. She was on last month. And she lived under, literally, Mao. Not the Mao from my cat, but the actual Mao. Or from your cat, for that
Yeah,
matter.
speaking of, I was just making sure he was all right when you said that. So
And she revealed something that very few, if any, people talk about, is that the numbers that were starved under communist China are wrong. 1 million people, she stated, were starved under communist China, plus all the rest of the Chinese who were killed. She was a child while she was there. She escaped. She came here. She married a guy, great guy. She's a wonderful person. And here's the strange thing, which is not so strange. Domestics hate the country. People that came here for a specific reason to love this country don't just love this country, they adore this country. Too many third world shithole parasitic invaders are here just to take advantage of the free cheese, the free blah, 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 whatever it happens to be. She came in here and immediately got into politics, went to school, got another degree. And then when she was in Colorado, I think she's in Maine or New Hampshire now, registered as a libertarian, ran as a libertarian. I've seen strident 2A and 1A defenders before. Oh, she's that. She adores this country. And yet so many people around here that take what we have, the blessings that we have, for granted, couldn't give a crap. And there are two big contingents warring with us, and they will soon be warring against each other. And I know who will win. We're getting commies, the DSA. I don't give a crap what people are talking about. The DSA is comprised of communists. And the people behind the scenes have said exactly that. The leaders have said, oh, we're communists. We're coming for your property. Oh, we're coming for everything that you own. And then the other contingent is muzzies. They're coming for everything. They're not here to assimilate. They are here to dominate and conquer. And it's happening in front of our face. And soon, depending on which way the political prairie winds blow, they will be warring against themselves. And I can guarantee you, muzzies are going to win. They play long ball, not nearly as much as commies. Now, commies have a great history of mass killings. Muzzies will just blow you up over the long term. So eventually they're going to be warring against each other. I don't think commies stand a chance, or we're going to end up splitting this country. It'll be another Kurt Schlichter apocalyptic dystopian novel writ large, right in front of our faces, because we're cowards and we're stupid and we're ignorant and we're naive. Other than that, everything's fine.
Everything's fine, you say. It doesn't sound very
peachy.
fine. Just saying.
No, we're all good. It's all good.
It's all fine. No problems. Okay, I found this also.
Oh, durka, durka, durka.
Durka, durka, durka.
Okay, I'm sorry. That will never not be funny. I'm sorry.
There's something I saw recently from Wall Street Apes, and it's going to happen in more towns. And this is how you do it. Remember recently when a group of Somali Muslims threatened a man with a knife for walking his dog outside their mosque in Lewiston, Maine? Turns out the Somali in Lewiston, all of them were brought there for the reason of signing up on welfare by Democrats. Lewiston, Maine has a large Somali population. In 2001, they became the targets of something the media later labeled targeted migration. Basically, some Somalis who'd been settled elsewhere, mainly in Atlanta, decided they were just going to arbitrarily and capriciously, let's say, pick a town, pick any town, and decided they were going to go there if it provided adequate welfare benefits. Then they moved as many Somali muzzies into Lewiston as they possibly could, and then they overwhelmed the system. Hey, definition of Cloward Piven, kids. The mayor finally asked them to please stop moving there. Please no work with muzzies. Please never works with muzzies. Please.
Yeah, no.
Sure.
That just encourages them.
Yeah, we'll get right on that. Then they used as an excuse for all of that, they called in the media because it was Islamophobic, and the mayor and other people that were there were being racist and Islamophobic. I picked up that from you, Rick. Is Islamulabaic. That's exactly what I am and you am. The resulting media extravaganza ensured that they would get to stay in Lewiston, Maine. And it's conquered.
There is no irrational fear of people that admit to you that they want you either dead or subjugated. That is a rational fear.
No, so what else did they do? Well, it's a circumspective fear. It's a considered fear, and it's not a fear per se. It's an acknowledgement that a serious problem embedded exists. And so one of the first things they did, and I mean Muzzies, they set up a refugee resettlement NGOs and other schemes like that you've seen all throughout the Muzzy occupied areas, and they've been bringing in more people ever since. So that's why you have a Muzzy population, a Somali population in Lewiston, Maine. And the reason I mentioned this is because for all the people who are going, BZ, you racist. Muzzies are not a race, okay? Just thought I'd tell you. And you're a phobe. I just explained that. And the other thing is, like I said, this is completely arbitrary. One day, a Muzzy, a group of Muzzies could look at your town where you live, no matter where it is, and just come in and settle. The goal is to outbreed us all.
Mm-hmm. I have talked about this. There is a large Muslim population around me. They opened a grocery store.
We are too ignorant, too fearful, too packed with guilt.
Mm-hmm.
Two-pack. That's bad rap. Two-packed with guilt, maybe three-packed with guilt. And we're ignorant and we're naive with regard to that. And then Muzzies, knowing the law as they do, well, we're a religion. We're the religion of peace. Islam, kids, is not a religion. It is a totalitarian, theocratic political system that is rooted in tyranny with its own separate laws. It embraces lies, barbaric culture, misogyny, violence, using a pedophilic deity to advance its agenda. It says you convert, you will be subjugated, or you die. Mm-hmm. Those are their own words. And so they win by embracing what I call this demography is prophecy thing. They win by breeding, by numbers, by hijra. Hijra is immigration, intentional immigration, immigrating and taking over other countries. Look at the Middle East itself. 5 or 6 countries that I can think of off the top of my brainulus were once Christian. No mo. So Islam works in phases, and we have to understand that. Phase 1 is migrate. Hijra tells them that. Number 2, populate. That's demography is prophecy. That's the breeding. Then the third is agitate, when the numbers start to move towards themselves, and then they dominate. It's a 4-step issue that has occurred historically over the past 1,000 years, and now the Middle East is dominated with teeny winky little Israel, maybe a fraction of Jordan, maybe, as a slight exception, dominated and surrounded by abject enemies who do want nothing but to kill them. Period. Statement. Let me see. That was Lebanon. Hey, where you went to recently? Egypt, Iraq, Syria, and Palestine. So Christians make up about 5% of the Middle Eastern population. That I found out Cyprus is about the only Christian majority country remaining at about 75%. But the biggest question I have for everybody is when people show you who they are and they tell you what they're going to do to you, not for you, believe them. Islam tells you to your face every second of every day what they will do to you, not for you. Why do we not believe them?
I do. I don't know why. I think
I believe them.
because, like I said, I've talked about it. I stopped going to the gym I went to when I moved here because Muslim men would be there and they would sit and watch I'm assuming their wives, maybe their sisters, girlfriends, probably not, but the women work out. And these women were in full garb, the headscarf, the long sleeves, the long pants at the gym. It made me very uncomfortable because I come from a culture and I live in a culture where I don't need a man's permission or supervision to do anything. And this notion that this is now the norm and they're going to do this is deeply disturbing to me. And I'm not even a feminist. I am more of a, I don't know, realist. I don't
right there.
Right. I don't hate men. I think women deserve equal rights, but I don't think women are special. And there's a halal grocery store going in my city, which I find deeply discomforting considering how halal meat is processed and the cruelty that it's inflicted on animals in the process of making halal meat. I think the cruelty is the point, by and large, of Islam, and it's not a religion. It is a socio-political movement
Exactly.
that wraps itself in the First Amendment to push its agenda on us, and we need to do something about it. My father-in-law, God rest his soul, has been railing about this for 25 years. Jim was right about everything. He was absolutely right about everything, and everybody thought he was nuts.
It's all a bunch of craziness, man. It's all a bunch of craziness.
They're here to dominate, and they're here to conquer. Period. End of statement. It's not that simple. You know, I had a very nice lady on my show last night, Dr. Carla Dean Graves, and she saw what occurred during Wuhan 19, and she's kind of an expert and decided that she was going to rail against all the stupid stuff that we saw. I didn't get to. I was going to have her talk.
China is asshole.
That's right. I say, ask her. Ask her. I try to say it better, but I can't. And she weighed in for 2 hours on just Wuhan 19. And she's moved into election integrity now, and I'm going to bring her back for that stuff. But at the conclusion of the show, I thought, I thanked her. She was really nice. And she lives in Missouri. And so she's 2 hours ahead. And very kind to be there and stay up so late. Most of the people that I get on the show are generally from at least Central over to Eastern. And to be on the show, they stay up late. You know, like you, Amy, when I have you on the show, you're kind enough to stay up late. And I really appreciate that. But I made a list of things that because it got my brain locked into this. And then I'm gonna go over this, and then you guys tell me where I'm wrong. Because I'll be the first to admit, you know, maybe I'm a Christian. I am far from perfect. I don't believe in organized religion. I try to be a good person, and I'm an abject failure many times. But I started to think, okay, in the country right now, who can we trust? We can't trust our federal government. We can't trust state government. We can't trust local government. We can't trust medicine. We can't trust the science. We can't trust pharma. We can't trust finance. We can't trust industry. We can't trust tech. We can't trust the American media maggots. They've proven that for years. You can't trust social media. You can't trust AI. Oh my God, do I have stories about that? You can't trust utilities. You can't trust law enforcement. You can't trust the courts. You can't trust the district attorneys. You can't trust education. You can't trust the water. You can't trust organized religion. Who can you trust? What can you trust? Tell me what's left.
Yourself.
That's about it.
And the people you know very well.
I was going to say self-reliance is a driving purpose of this country for that reason.
And that's one of the first things that is targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Self-reliance, government as God. That's the fundamental area of, the little red book of those who are Marxist Leninists.
Yes, it is.
Get rid of the people's opiate. Get rid of religion in all forms except Islam, because they'll kill you, and the fight for that is coming. But if you can replace government as God, then you will essentially have won. And as is said, sometimes cliches are true for reasons. And so I've said for a long time, there are so many dictators that are looking to do socialism right or do communism right, because up to that point, no one has done it quite right. Like I will, like I can. I'm different and separate from everyone else. Follow me. Follow the DSA. Follow our DSA adherents. We'll do it right. 150 million deaths later, we still haven't learned. Democrats love Margaret Sanger. They love Muzzies. I can't explain that. I can't explain much of what's occurring right now.
Well, once I started understanding who Margaret Sanger was, the Democratic love for her just blew my mind, because I'm like, dude, she's like the mother of eugenics around here. You guys are like all for that shit. I'm like, what the hell?
They are. I'll find it, and then you go on, and then when I find it, I will tell you what my next line of thinking is, because I read something on Twitter that kind of explained it.
It's a continuation of, we can tell you to your idiot faces in America and Europe what we're going to do to you, not for you. You will come over to our belief side, or we'll eliminate you, convert you, or kill you. So communism is not significantly different from Islam, except you don't have to wear a beekeeper uniform in communism. But they do have their own uniform, Mao's little red shirt worn by Hassan Piker, who is, and it's like, dude has the best of both possible worlds right now. Dude is a muzzy, dude is a commie, and he's just waiting to let the rest of that filter out so that he'll take a side. Will not be overturned in a year, 5 years, or 10 years. It will be a work in progress. I'll be long gone. But we don't fight now, and folks, your kids are going to suffer. Your women are going to suffer. Your daughters are going to suffer. Your children are going to suffer. Your grandchildren are going to suffer. Their grandchildren will suffer. ... If they're allowed to continue to live under what kind of a society is created under all of that. We either defend ourselves now, because it's a complete and abject failure of imagination. You can't see what all these elements have in store for you. Your brain can't comprehend that they're not here to do something nice for you. I truly believe, and again, I'd like you guys to weigh in on this. I believe evil exists. I've seen it. I've labored under it. I can tell when
we just watched an entire trial about it.
I've fought against it. I've shot it. I've killed it. I know what it smells like. I know what it looks like. Men and women, man, the big M, is inherently evil unless brought to foot or heel by something bigger than himself. And the only thing bigger than man that's pushed now is government, not God. I rail against organized religion, but that's not to say that individuals can't have within their hearts the recognition of good versus evil, and they have to swear that you cannot make peace with evil. You
I
have
love
to
that shirt.
fight it. And
Mhm.
I don't see us fighting right now. But sure, we're fighting now against what we see, but the future is what we're casting aside. And that's, I'll be dead. But you guys won't. Your children won't. Your grandchildren won't. And we're not motivated to do anything about it.
Right. No, I think what motivates both the communists and the Muslims, and why the left loves them so, is the purpose is destruction. The destruction is the point. The destruction of America. I couldn't find the post I was looking for. The destruction of Christianity. But there was a post that went around X where an Islamic preacher said their goal is to destroy Christianity. And the left, who has been looking for a way to destroy Christianity for eons, said, oh, we will get them to do the dirty work for us. We will get them to remove the Christians from the public sphere. But again, there's no looking toward the future, because I think we'll use the Muslims to do our dirty work, and then we'll, live in peace. They can go and do their thing, and we'll have our little gay tranny parties and
that's what they thought about the socialists.
Right, that's what they thought about the socialists, and then the socialists lined them up against the wall and shot them and buried them in a grave. The same thing will happen with Islam. We are already seeing it. Melissa Chowdhury is running for Congress in Washington. She is a Democrat. I wrote about this for Town Hall. She removed her LGBTQ agenda from her website because it offended the Muslims in her district. I am like, I have gay friends. I know gay friends. Like, I don't care what you do in your bedroom, by and large. I draw the line at the trans agenda, but that's another topic. But at the end of the day is, I'm supposed to be this anti-gay, homophobic bigot, and I'm the one going, guys, look at what's happening here. They are already throwing you under the bus to the Muslims. And Chowdhury has said, I will defend your rights in Congress. No, you won't. If you don't even have the balls to put your agenda on the website, you are not going to vote for legislation that is going to piss off the Muslims. And I said this will happen. I wrote a story for Town Hall about Massachusetts. The state court said, the highest court, the Supreme Court said, this town cannot erect Catholic statues for fallen first responders because it will show that the government is favoring one religion over another. Massachusetts is also the state that is creating an 11-person Islamic-only council.
Yes.
To direct the government into not offending the Muslims in the state of Massachusetts.
You know what that council is going to be eventually? It'll be a Sharia court.
It'll be a Sharia court. And I'm telling you right now, Massachusetts was the first state in the union to legalize gay marriage. It will be the first state to abolish it to appease the Muslims. Mark your calendars on August 28th at 2:41 p.m. I called that. And I am absolutely right that will happen.
I completely concur. You got the bell of happiness behind
I love when
it.
I get the bell. I love when I get the bell. But
and it's true. Lines clearly are already being drawn, and you folks don't see it.
Well, can I add probably the only bright spot I've been able to find about both of these things regarding the commies and the muzzies, and that's Secretary Scott Bessent.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys have seen this, but he's actually attacking these things at both ends at the same time. Because on one side, Treasury and the IRS are reportedly reviewing whether major progressive nonprofits, including such as Open Society Foundations, CARE, and the SPLC, are abusing tax-exempt status for illicit finance, foreign influence, or unlawful activity. If the evidence supports it, they could lose 501c3 protections and face all kinds of taxes and penalties, including potential back taxes. But then there's the other side. Treasury is also targeting Iran's financial lifelines, finally, through Operation Economic Outcast. That includes sanctions on bankers and front companies, plus a proposed move to cut Bank Misr AEU off from all U.S. correspondent banking over alleged money laundering ties to Iran's shadow finance network. So the one thing that I will say is, as bad as everything is, and as much as I'm usually screaming about Republicans not doing enough, this might finally be at least a baby step in the right direction to hit both of them where it matters. So who knows?
Good.
We'll see.
Good. And it's like, you saw my face. This is like Christmas in August, because that's exactly what they needed. And the fact that Bessent happens to, I believe, I believe he's gay. I'm going to say that. No, I'm doubting
Yeah,
myself.
I
believe,
think you're right.
But it's just the chef's kiss, because
Well,
the irony, the beautiful irony of that he is going to take out these groups. And you will notice when they took out USAID and a bunch of those other government spending organizations, the DNC
protests
coffers
kind of died.
The protests kind of died off. There aren't pallets of bricks sitting everywhere. And now the train of thought completely derailed.
Well, the DNC coffers are empty too. So
the DNC coffers are empty. Like the fundraising, they are so far behind in fundraising. You like connect the dots, people. Like there are things that are not going well. There are things that I wish the Trump administration did differently. But some of this stuff, like dismantling this network of leftist funding.
Yes, via George Soros. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, George Soros is the Open Society. So going after that monster of a man.
Singham.
I love you, Scott Bessent. I love you.
Neville Singham going after Iran as well, trying to collapse their financial situation. You know, you were talking about there, and make no mistake, we're fighting a war. It's a war. I said this about 3 shows ago. It's a damn war. There are some good, positive, salient aspects about this. I'm looking at a story over here. Department of Education moves to strip ABA's law school accreditation amid DEI criticism. The ABA, the American Bar Association. That's a happy story as far as I'm concerned, but you have to sift diligently through this stuff, this GERP, in order to discover the little jewels that exist in the sand. They're there, they're not so shiny, but you have to be intentionally looking for them. And we all, I believe, try to bring this to everybody as much as we possibly can. The other thing that I saw was, and this is a clarion call. This is what we must face. Kamala Harris recently said that the GOP is cheating to win midterm elections. And so what she's pushing is we have to be too big to fail, meaning that the clear intent of that is everybody get out. Get out, vote early, vote often, vote anyway, vote on your ballot, vote on my ballot, vote on somebody else's ballot, vote on dead people, vote as much as humanly possible. There are towns and cities in the US that have proscribed, I think one was Chicago. Amy or Rick, you can correct me on this. I'm just throwing it out there as far as my little fetid brain can recall, but there are people who are boards who are refusing to take dead people off the voter rolls.
Yeah, I think that's Chicago. I think you're right.
There's only one purpose behind that, and that's to cheat. And yet you still have idiots, mostly whites, who are saying, that's no evidence. You don't have any evidence of any cheating. What do you don't have a thing. Move along. Nothing to see here.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love is every time there's this story about, 4 or 5 illegal aliens caught voting here, 4 or 5 caught voting there. That's still such a small amount. I'm like, dude, it's like cockroaches, though. You see one, just come back in the dark and turn the lights on.
Well, yeah, and that's when you have to start wearing pointed boots to get the fuckers in the corner.
So I did find one other semi-bright story for the nerds among us. Donald Trump has basically just established the precursor to Starfleet Academy through executive order.
Okay.
Really?
All right, let's go.
I missed that one.
He's officially established the Space Force Academy. So it now has its own training area, its own training campus, or will have. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
That is really cool. Like, space is one of the next big frontiers, and we need to beat China there. We need to take it seriously. So
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's three major frontiers that are kind of. One of them has been kind of stale now for a while, and I don't really understand why. Because it seems like we have the technology down much better to explore it, even than we do space. But I as much as I know this makes BZ very uncomfortable, I actually am liking what I'm starting to see out of AI. I don't like the fact that a lot of the people that are poo-pooing all these facilities that are starting to be built are using very old data, much like the Democrats who love to talk about, we need a full electric stuff, and then they're still using technology from the 60s. A lot of people that are complaining about these data centers are complaining about the first generation data centers, where there were only a handful of them because there weren't very many that were needed yet, and they didn't know how to build these things efficiently. Now they've got these systems where they basically they only pull from the water once, and then they just keep recycling it over and over and over again. They recycle it, they cool it, they send it back in to cool everything down, and it's a closed loop. Same thing with the electricity. A lot of these places that are coming in now, they're actually making the electric company money because they're making everybody's bills cheaper because they're selling money back to the electric company because they're building their own power generation stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, the only other thing that I wish we were exploring more than we are is our own oceans, because they're still about 77% unexplored, which is kind of astounding to me when you think about it.
Yeah, well, how vast it is. It's kind of like a version of space, where it's this dark, vast expanse that's uninhabitable to humans, and we don't know a fraction of what's going on down there. There was a story that I read when I'm doom scrolling Instagram at 3 a.m. At one time, there was a shark who was being tracked with like a temperature sensor, all of that stuff. Great white. Suddenly, like the temperature starts spiking, and then his depth started going like really down. And basically, what it amounted to was something big ate the shark and then disappeared into the depths of the ocean. What it was, no idea. But
yeah, I mean,
it's out there.
Yeah, well, let's break that down for a second, because I know we don't know exactly what it was that ate the shark. But from a human perspective, a shark is an apex predator.
So what's
that means there's
an apex predator?
That means there's something in the ocean that just basically one bite and a shark was done. What? No, I don't even want to think about that. Nope.
You're saying something jumped the shark?
I mean,
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, all during the thing about AI, did you note my reptilic stare? Just kidding. I hate AI. Fed Chair Warsh says something that to me is very concerning. He's saying, I think he went to, what was it? That popular place in Wyoming, Jackson Hole.
Jackson Hole, okay.
And said today, inflation is still too high. Okay. And the central bank may have to raise rates. Not what we want to hear. Not what we want to hear.
No.
When we have, and of course, that means money, which is not a good thing when we've hit a $40 trillion national debt. Bad. Not good. Bad. Which no one wants to talk about. No one.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Yeah, I had a bit of fun with that one on Wednesday, because that was around the same time that news broke. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. We're at $40 trillion. And nobody's talking about the fact that we're sitting at $40 trillion. The scariest thing to me about all of this with the debt is now, and I said this on Wednesday, now that we've actually started looking at how all of our tax stuff is being abused, if we actually looked, and trust me, I know we can't go back as far as we should be, as I wish we could go back, but if we could actually go back and start looking from the beginning, we would probably find about $38.7 trillion that has been stolen from us over the last forever ago. Just saying.
Mhm.
Just saying.
So it makes you wonder, okay, do I believe the debt clock 40 trillion? Yes, I do. So then if you're a logical thinking human being, your first question should be, of that $40 trillion, how much of that is due to corruption, to NGOs, to corruption all over? A logical thinking human being should be considering, at least if nothing else, asking the question, where'd that debt come from? Who's responsible? Well, politicians, of course.
Well, yeah, but
Nobody's going to address it. Everybody wants to kick the can down the road.
and that's just it. Yeah, it is politicians, but it's not just politicians. How many of us have ever known somebody that was building a business or was friends with somebody who they knew was building a business, and all you ever heard from them is, if I can ever get this government contract, I will be set for life? Because I've heard it over and over and over again from 3 or 4 different people that I know that run businesses that were trying for government contract business. They're like, if we can land this thing, we are golden. Because everybody feels like once they latch onto the government, it's a blank check. They can bid them for whatever they want because the government don't give a shit. It ain't their money. I mean, hell, look at what California did with the fucking train. I mean, Gavin Newsom with his high-speed train rail or whatever, been spending millions of dollars and still hasn't laid a bit of track.
2040, maybe.
Yeah. Hasn't even laid a bit of track yet and already lost millions of dollars. This is the stuff that I'm talking about. And this is not anything new. I mean, if you go look at the history of the railroads, once they figured out that the government was going to pay them by the mile, especially if they got there first, they were going out of their way to make the tracks longer and still making them go faster just so they could get more money, which is insane when you think about it. This whole idea of the government has an unlimited amount of money is just insane, and that's the life that's the world that everybody's been living in now for forever. Is the government will never run out of money. Well, trust me, if you and I can run out of money, then eventually the government can run out of money too. Especially if you start bringing socialists into the equation that want to take your money and give it to everybody else, because they always run out of other people's money, but they never want to give up any of their own. Anybody want to ask Bernie Sanders why the Mr. Socialist has 3 different houses? Why does a socialist need 3 different houses? Why? Because he's not one. Why does Hassan Piker have a fucking hundreds of millions of dollars through YouTube and all these other things that he's getting paid for? You know, he's getting paid from the campaigns that he's been out stomping for, even though now they're like, oh, don't touch that guy anymore. No, we messed up with that one. And it's just, it's insane to me. And look, I am a capitalist. I really am. But there has to be a point when you say things that were supposed to be brought about for the good of humanity shouldn't be something that bankrupts everyone.
You also have to ask the question, if this continues, well, not hell, if this continues, because it's going to continue, you have to ask yourself, okay, how many states, not the federal government, will continue to be solvent in the not too distant future? Because the government, not the states, can go money, 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 money. But the states can't do that. The federal government can. And then, to your point, Rick, the same thing occurred with student loans. All of a sudden, when the government said, come to us, we are benevolent, we are we are the locus of benevolence, come to see us for your student loans. And all the colleges and universities said, hey, it's guaranteed money, and we'll worry about paying it later. And the kids continue to make stupid decisions, and then universities exploded, and then staff exploded, and then wages for staff exploded, because they all knew they were betting on the come that, hey, the government will pay for it. So kids, keep making your stupid decisions because we're benefiting from it. We love it. Yay. Yay, students. Yay, idiots. Good choices, kids.
Yeah. It's a mess. And socialism, everybody says, oh, stuff will be more affordable. Healthcare will be more affordable if we do away with private insurance and you pay things to the state. No, it won't. I ran the numbers, and the plan, if you implemented every plan the socialists want, we're looking at $211 trillion. And that came out to something like $64,000 a year per person. And all I'm going to say is things would be tight if I had to pay that much out of pop. That's basically my whole income.
Right. I was going to say that's my annual salary.
Right. In exchange for what? Maybe I get to see a doctor in 6 months if the tranny next door doesn't want the care first, or if the intersectional feminist running the department decides, this white woman doesn't need care today because we need to give it to the black indigenous Eskimo that's sitting in the waiting room instead. Okay, no, thank you. Like, no, that is the hardest pass ever. And like you said, they don't want to live by their own rules. Gustavo Gordillo, I had to laugh because his parents bought him a 1.4, 1.5, depending on where you. Yep.
Thank you.
He's a DSA leader. Parents bought him a 1.4, 1.5, depending on the story you read, $1 million house in New York where he wants to abolish private property. And not only that, he's doing renovations on that house and not using union workers and hadn't pulled permits. He got slapped with a fine by the city, which one shocks me because they don't.
Somebody will lose their job over that.
Yeah, right. Like that'll get like the news will be he got fined, and in the back channels, it'll go away. So the official story is he got fined, but he's not going to pay a dime. And even if they make him pay a dime, mommy and daddy are the ones forking that money over. Let's be real here.
Hassan Piker, $2.7 million house.
Yep.
His rationale behind that was, well, it's in West Hollywood, and realty values being what they are, I had to pay a serious price to get into that house. I speak leftist, so I'll translate. I have mine.
Mm-hmm.
They have theirs. This is the equivalent of the old, Russian dacha in Sochi on the Black Sea. We got ours. You can go to hell.
Mm-hmm. And that's ultimately because everything has to be the state and government. Socialism has ultimately one main goal: to destroy the middle class and make sure that there are two classes. The rich people like Hassan Piker and Gustavo Gordillo, who are living in nice houses, doing what they want, having access to food, clothing, clean water, and everybody else who is working 6 days a week, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day at the farm or the factory to make things. All you have to do is read history. I'm listening to Anne Applebaum's Gulag when I drive to and from the gym on Audible. And that's your future, people. Go listen to it, how they rounded up the kulaks, the wealthy peasant farmers who were wealthy, according to the state. You said something against the regime, you got sent off to a gulag. They didn't like the way your clothes looked, you got sent off to a gulag. Socialism requires the violence of the state to work. And it was another book, Invisible Man, and I'm drawing. It was about the Great Depression. I'm blanking on who the author was at the moment. But anyway, reading that book, it said the Russian Revolution was kind of like 1917. By the mid 1920s, so less than a decade later, they were already relying on American capitalists to bail their failed experiment out, and it still lasted another 60 years of misery, of oppression, of people getting shot and killed. Socialism sucks, and we do not want to go down that path because you know what? The free shit isn't free, and it's not worth it.
Okay, I'm looking right now. I didn't hear about that. What was the first book that you mentioned?
It was Gulag, and I believe it's Anne. Let me pull it up because it's on my phone. Because like I said, I listen to it when I drive to and from the gym.
Anne Applebaum.
Anne Applebaum, yep.
Okay, all right. Thank you, because I got to get a copy of that.
Yeah, and I'm also reading Guns, Germs, and Steel, like the hard copy. Not as crazy about that, but I do like the Applebaum book so far. But yeah, you want to read that, the book about the Great Depression, I think it was called The Invisible Man. You want to read that too, because not only is it a good history of the Great Depression, it really kind of laid out sort of some of the socialist influences that FDR eventually leaned on for things like the New Deal and all of that. So you learn a lot when you read. That's why reading is so important. And that's why public schools don't want their kids to learn how to read.
Reading is fundamental. Hey, I want to ask you this.
Unless you want kids to grow up communist.
Right. This is a lead in, Amy Curtis. Can you address the story that I think you just put out today?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, today's the 28th.
Yes, it is.
It's like this needs to be highlighted. Did the Equality and Human Rights Commission really just say this about the UK's welfare?
Okay.
Britain isn't generous enough to
Yep.
migrants. Oh,
Yep.
please take that football and run.
Oh, absolutely. So I was going to say this was my favorite story because it's so laughable on its face, except it's not. So the Equality and Human Rights Commission, EHRC, issued a report and basically said, because the British government just scrapped a program that helped refugees write resumes and find jobs, you people aren't generous enough to these migrants, and you need to do more to bring yourself up to the UN standards of taking care of these migrants. Like raping 250,000 girls wasn't generous enough. Letting Henry Novak get murdered because a Sikh with a knife stabbed him in the gut and the lungs wasn't enough. Like this should be the moment when every British citizen rises up with torches and pitchforks because they can't have guns or knives and completely throws all the bastards out, because this is laughable on its face. They come to your country, they treat you like shit. They do things like get the council to ban dogs, which the UK is working on doing. They take the British flag, the St. George's flag, you can't show those in public because it might offend a Muslim. You can't make a joke about bacon because it might offend a Muslim. But fork over your tax dollars so they can learn how to get jobs.
And they'll jail you behind it.
Yep. And they'll throw you in jail.
Or the police will kill you.
Yep. They will laugh and say you weren't stabbed as you bleed to death internally like they did with Henry Novak. Fuck you all and the horse you rode it on. That is the most laughable thing I have ever read in my entire life. And I have been online a long time. This notion that the UK is not generous enough because the UN they don't meet the UN standards. No. Absolutely laughable. You come to this country, you undermine its culture, and then you ask for more money. The absolute swinging pendulous balls on these people is just incredible. And it's going to happen here too, because we hear it, the Democrats, oh, no, illegal aliens don't get benefits. And then Abigail Spanberger turned around and said, we're going to lose coverage for 300,000 people in Virginia. Medicaid coverage.
Illegal invaders are people who refuse to work.
Why would you?
Yes.
In a way, I get it. I at least respect the grift, because if someone was paying my bills and paying them well to the point where you like, was it Florida? I want to say it was Florida, but I may be wrong on that. Florida finally, it's 2026, got around to saying, hey, you know what? You can't use welfare cash payments to get tattoos or to get your nails done.
Or vaping. Because why should your taxpayer dollars be paying people to vape? What's wrong with you?
And look, don't get me wrong. I have tattoos. I know it's a hot button issue for some conservatives. I don't care. I love them. But I paid for them out of my own pocket. Money that was supposed to go to feed my kids, pay my rent. No, this was money that I saved up and worked on so that I could get something that I wanted. The thought of I was on Wisconsin food stamps for a period of time when I was in nursing school, going through a divorce and had 3 kids at home. I was working odd jobs, trying to make ends meet. And for a short time, I was on food stamps. And every time I had to go to the store and buy something, I was embarrassed. I felt this great sense of shame that I couldn't provide for my kids. And we've lost that. And this sense of entitlement, like the thought of me going into a store and saying, the taxpayers are paying for me to get this tattoo, would never cross my mind because I have a sense of decency.
You have shame and humility. 2 aspects that are like the Mexican guy that was looking at Pier 39 or Fisherman's Wharf every time he went by, and I can see it affects you.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
He went by an empty building or an empty restaurant in San Francisco. He said, gone. This place is gone. And so that's why I still believe our future is binary, everything else aside, because we're being warred against by so many elements simultaneously. And the two binary choices, and there's nothing in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
A, capitulation, or total capitulation, or civil war.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing in the middle, kids. You will be subjugated by either commies or muzzies if you just lay back, and particularly every election, especially local, if you don't get your fat, lazy ass out to vote. Period. Kamala just said it. They want to swamp the elections by any means necessary in order to win. That's called a clue. Again, listen to what these people are telling you to your face out of their mouths. We don't believe it. Why?
Well, a lot of people don't believe it because they don't want to believe it.
Well, I think denial is a big part of that, because it's so, even to me who understands what's going on, it still doesn't seem real that it's happening, but it's happening, and we need to take it seriously.
I'm going to make an ancient reference that no one will get. Fire Sign Theater. It can't happen here.
Oh God, why do I know that?
Here.
Yeah, I think Amy almost got it. It went over my head. I'm not even gonna lie.
No, it sounds like the little file cabinets in my brain are going, you know this, where is it? And I can't find it right now. But
Fire Sign Theater is what we used to listen to in the late 60s and early 70s for comedy packed with irony and schadenfreude. Because it can't happen here until it does.
And yeah, at some point it probably will, unless we wake up. But speaking of, we are coming to the end of our time together, unfortunately. So,
sorry, I don't sing well.
That's
And
about how
the
I feel.
violin was out of tune. Okay, it wasn't me; it was the violin.
Should have tuned it before you brought it to the show. Should have tuned it before you brought it to the show.
Good
All
point.
right, so we'll start with Amy. Favorite
All right.
story of the week, and you're allowed to do more than one if you can't decide.
well, we kind of touched on it because with the Human Rights Commission saying that Britain wasn't generous enough, and we'll just leave it at that. I think the other story that I'm going to talk about is one that kind of hits closer to home for me. The FDA has approved a new cancer drug specifically for pancreatic cancer, and it's gotten sort of some broad use approval. Watering it down, there's a group of proteins called RAS, or abbreviated RAS, and they are what drives the growth in most pancreatic cancers. And this mutation of this RAS gene is seen in like 95% of pancreatic cancers. So the FDA has approved this drug. I'm going to butcher the name of it. Rasan-Q. It's in my story. You can find it on townhall.com. But what this drug has shown so far is that it's taken the median live time of patients with pancreatic cancer from 6.7 months to 13.2 months, and they have a 60% lower risk of death. They also show some progression-free survival rates, and response rates to other treatment have improved. It's a step in the right direction, and we have made significant advancements with pancreatic cancer. My uncle died of it in 2014. The Whipple procedure, chemo, radiation, gene therapy. There are things that are helping extend the life of people who are diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, which is, of all the cancers, the one that absolutely terrifies me, because it is pretty much, well, at one point it was pretty much death sentence. That's slowly changing, and I'm hoping that this means down the road there will be more opportunities for treatment that will give people lives and maybe ultimately find a cure for pancreatic cancer. Because I know there are other conspiracy theories that Big Pharma doesn't want us to do that because they want the money, but on a good day, I try not to believe that that's true, because I believe that we want to beat these awful diseases and make cures for these cancers so that people don't die from them. And that was reported. Cancer was, according to Variety, was what ultimately killed Dolly Parton. A brief battle with cancer. What kind? As far as I'm aware, they haven't said.
I never heard. Yeah.
My gut would tell me that it was pancreatic cancer, because when you're diagnosed with that, it goes quickly, especially if they don't catch it early and treat it early. And she was also in her 80s and had some other health issues, but that's purely speculation on my part. If we can stop that, that's a win. That is a huge win.
My mother-in-law was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. We went to go visit her in Fresno when I was still in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
She was diagnosed one day. 3 months later, she was dead. She turned, and folks, if you've never seen anyone with jaundice, it's like your worst Donald Trump. They are literally orange.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Mm-hmm.
End of statement.
If it gets into your liver, and you have liver problems, I've seen patients who are green from liver, like the
Never
cancer
seen
affected. I worked, my last clinical when I was in nursing school was on the abdominal transplant floor. So we had pre-op and post-op patients who were literally green. And my uncle that died, Uncle Mel, was my dad's identical twin. So this man who I knew my whole life and who looked exactly like my father, when he died and was at the funeral, I didn't recognize him. I was 31. I'd known that man for 31 years, and the cancer had just done so much damage to his body that I didn't recognize him. And he was the spitting image of my dad up until the cancer made him sick.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is my favorite story of the week, because fuck cancer, man. And if we can beat it, that would be awesome.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, and then the other thing that I'm real quick, I'm going to promo, because I'm working on it, and I will be working on it all weekend and next week, is I'm doing a series for the September 11th attacks. It's called The Heroes of 9/11. And today there won't be a story, but there were 2 this week, and starting on Monday every day, I am going to write a story about one hero from 9/11 who went above and beyond. The first one was Rick Rescorla. If you don't know his story, go to Town Hall and find my piece. I sum it up, but I also link to a piece in the New Yorker, which is probably my favorite piece of writing that I've ever read. It is such a beautiful tribute to him.
Nice.
That is worth a read. But read mine. And then yesterday's was Patricia Horoho, who was at the Pentagon and who basically, with like a first aid kit from someone's car, started triaging people after the plane hit the Pentagon. We want to do that not only because we want to remember these people and the lives that were forever changed, but for people like my kids who treat 9/11 like I treated the Kennedy assassination. We need to educate them so that the spirit of never forget continues, because I think a lot of us have forgotten. And I can't believe it's been 25 years. So definitely go check those out. Someone I follow on Twitter messaged me and said he sent them to a bunch of people, including somebody affiliated with the 9/11 museum. So I'm
excellent,
very touched and honored by that. And I'm going to start working on Mondays is going to be the hero dogs of 9/11. So you'll want to come back and read that, and all next week up until 9/11.
Excellent.
How can folks find you, Amy?
You can find me on townhall.com or Twitter at Ranty Amy Curtis. And then if you've got it up, nope, that's not the QR code. My book, Gaslight, don't worry about it. Go to Amazon, Gaslight, How the Democratic Party Lost Its Mind to Radical Leftism and Abuses Voters in the Process. Now the QR code is up there. Oh, that reminds me. I got to do something with that this week too. But that's where you can find me. Thank you for having me. This is so much fun.
Not a problem. All right, BZ, what have you got for us as far as final thoughts, favorite thing you've talked about this week?
I'm horribly biased. I've been looking, and I'm going to create possibly a 2-part series that will take place on Tuesday and Thursday, sometime in the future, not sure when. My fervent belief is AI is going to kill us. And Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but I've been investigating and looking and researching through this for the past month, and I'm just in the assemblage stage right now. There's a guy whose video people need to watch. It's a whistleblower on AI by the name of Connor Leahy. And his video, I think if you look at it, will change your mind about AI. Also, recently, OpenAI agents hacked Hugging Face in a 700-strong swarm, tried to cover its tracks, and investigations find. It's a 37-page report that delineates undisclosed aspects of that hacking spree powered by OpenAI's most advanced models. What this guy said was, AI has essentially been programmed by leftists. Then it escapes. Then there's no controlling it, pretty much. And if you've given it a job, it will, what he said out of his lips, it will use and do anything that it needs to do, lie, cheat, steal, break out of the sandbox that has been digitally built around it to carry out its role. It's gone, it's escaped. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle. At this point, we can still use AI, but just a little prognostication for the future. The AI you use today is probably not going to be the AI that will kill you tomorrow. Skynet? Oh gosh, 1984 film by James Cameron. How wacky! This is crazy. Robots. Oh yeah, there was a robot competition recently, and yeah, they look kind of stupid and they fell down and but they're there. That's this year in 2026. Hashtag just saying. BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show every Tuesday and Thursday night. I am your conservative Sherpa. Don't I look like one? Every Tuesday and Thursday night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern. You got to be there. On KLRN. Hey, on X at BZ's Saloon. Hey, on Twitch and the SHR Media YouTube channel.
All right, so my closing thoughts have to be based around CNN this week because I saw something really interesting. So the Communist News Network, who is becoming a news network in name only, based on two very distinct things that I saw. One, I saw them advertising a travel show that will be airing on CNN on, I think it's Saturday or Sunday nights now. So I think CNN may eventually become the MTV of news networks because it seems like they're showing less and less commentary and starting to go into other avenues. The other one has to do with Dolly Parton. First CNN and then NBC. Both did it. One of them used an image of a Las Vegas impersonator. The other put up an image of Lonnie Anderson. If you don't know, if you don't know what the hell and who the hell Dolly Parton is, you probably shouldn't be writing any damn stories.
I didn't see the Lonnie Anderson. I saw the impersonator one, which was bad enough. But like, okay, who's working for these apartments? Because I will tell you right now, I could walk out. My boys are back in school now, but all three of my kids who are 19, 17, and 13 know who Dolly Parton is. They could pick Dolly Parton out of a lineup. They would not have screwed up like CNN and NBC. And on the Lonnie Anderson one just kills me.
Well, so what it was, remember years ago when Dolly Parton showed up, I think it was at the Dallas Cowboys game, and actually, I think it was during a halftime show. She actually dressed like a cheerleader. Somebody saw Lonnie Anderson dressed in a Dallas Cowboys outfit and thought it was Dolly Parton.
Oh, it must be her. Kids are running the newsrooms. Ill-educated, unlearned kids are running the newsrooms, and they're running the editorial process. The actual men and women, adults who used to be in charge of that stuff, gone.
Well, yeah, it's because they've all been run out and they're all doing their own things now, or they were just too crazy to begin with. But yeah, the weirdest thing for me, and I know this is going to sound like a get off my lawn moment, but when I realized the other day that there's like a 23-year-old running one of the control rooms in one of the major networks, I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
No.
23?
No.
23?
No.
Really?
which is weird because guess how old Nick Shirley is? And they hate him.
About the same age.
Yeah. Nick Shirley specifically is 23. California by itself wrote a law specifically targeting Nick Shirley and people like him because they're scared of him. They're scared.
Right. And that directly impacts somebody that I tangentially work with, Jennifer Van Laar, who's over at Red State, who's done amazing work reporting on Newsom for years. Actually had to leave the state of California because even though it's now known as the Stop Nick Shirley Act, this law has been in process for a while, not just to go after guys like Nick Shirley. He was just kind of I guess you call it the straw that broke the camel's back, but they've been doing this for years to the point where she left the state because she fears the Newsom administration and the Democrats running California. It should never be that way.
All right. So one bit of closing information, because I was just kind of going through some reports for this week because I hadn't really looked at them. I want to give a quick shout out not only to the state of Michigan, but apparently the city of Onaway in Michigan, because y'all have downloaded like 4,000 of our stuff this month. So
nice.
I'm like, dang, that's a lot. Anyway. All right. We're going to get out of here. Again, no he said, she said tonight. We are off. Aggie's got a family obligation, and I've decided that I work too damn much, and I'm going to take a Friday night off.
Why not? Do it.
Well, I say I'm going to take it off, but honestly, I'm probably going to sit down and write some, at least a few stories tonight. Nowhere near Amy stories, because I'm still not that fast, but maybe one of these days. Maybe one of these days. All right, folks.
Amy is machine.
We're going to get out of here. Want to again thank everybody for taking time to spend part of the Friday with us. And it looks like whatever was going on with the X numbers has finally been fixed because we hit almost 150. And for the longest time, I couldn't see it because it was all weird. But I guess they fixed it. Bye, everybody.
Bye.